Hi, this is John from Chicago. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm bringing you 10 of the Toothpicks and Twigs. It's a fun class. It's probably your most popular class. You're seeing the most new quads coming out in this area. And I'm showing you a variety of what's out there so you can get an idea what you may want to get if you don't have one yet, or a second one, or whatever. But my first one I bought was the Primo. I just bought the frame, and what you do is you take a whoop and you transfer everything over to it. I took the Mobula 7, and it has the 0802 motors, 2S. I put those in there, and I ended up getting about 10% more speed and power out of it, and it also gave me almost 50% more flight time because of the efficiency of these props over what a Mobula 7 has. The only downside is these props, once you get stuck in the grass or land in the grass, it's hard to take off again, and if you're upside down, you could forget turtle mode. My next one was my Sailfly X. I bought that beginning of the summer, my first one, and I really loved the things. There were a lot of people liked them, how fast they were. They're low weight, dry weight of 37 grams, and with the 3S battery, about 62 grams. Power to weight ratio is 5.6, and these were my fastest quads on my shorter track. So I enjoyed that. The reason I got 3 of them is because they would all break. The power supply on the flight control board just could not handle the 3S batteries. 2 of those burnt up. One burnt up in flight and the other one burnt up plugging it in. Both of those within 2 weeks of getting them. And then my third one, it worked for about 100 flights or 80 flights, but the ESC kept on getting worse and worse, so it would lose power. I think right now, or at the end, it was down to about 1/3 power. So I wrote to Happy Model, emailed them, and they said if I send them to them, they will put the new version 3 boards in, which they did. I got them back within 6 weeks from when I sent them, and they've worked fine. Really great. I'm going to maybe use those for backyard racing for the next year's season, since they're so quick and light and long flight times. My next model was the Happy Model Larva X. That was the upgrade from here. They're using the version 3 board, flight control board in it, so no problems with that. They have Runcan Nano 2 camera, which is I think your best camera for these nano class quad builds right now. I think there's room for improvements, but it is your best. It also has a Diamond VTX with 200 milliwatts, and it has an onboard DVR, and they give you an extra canopy, which I needed. I broke the original canopy, and I also, the flaw that I've had with it is if I hit a pole or a tree real hard, the VTX and flight control board shifts in the frame, and you have to loosen up the screws and retighten everything down. I've done that twice now. But overall, it's held up really good, and it flies great, and for $100, it's a great machine. My next one I tried to get right when they came out, which I wasn't successful getting an order placed, is the TinyHawk FreeStyle. It's strictly 2S. It runs on 2 1S batteries, and it flies good, really good, and it has long flight times. Disadvantages are it runs on 1S batteries. I have a ton of 2S batteries with XT30 connectors. The other thing that this is a little weak on is the camera and the signal. The VTX is only 25 milliwatts, so the range is not as good, and the camera doesn't handle light anywhere near as good as the Nano 2. And the adjustability of the camera angle, they give you 2 little clips. You can change it, but it's a pain to change, and it's nice to have the variable angles that all these other quads have. You could just turn them to the angle you want. My next one up is Diatone. They have a Cube series out there. There's at least 4 models to choose from. There's two sizes. There's your 2.5-inch size and your 3-inch size. This is the GTB 229 cube. It's strictly 2S because the motors are 1103 by 10,000 kVs, so it's 2S only. But that's okay. 2S at that kV, it moves. It's fun to fly. It's lightweight. It's really agile. It's a blast. Probably be my favorite, I think, right now. I would like to try the 8500 kV one, but I only had so much time and money, so I didn't get that one. But that might be a good one too. And then if you move up in size, you could get the 3-inch props. And that had the highest, or tied for the highest power to weight ratio at 6.2. It's this one here, the bigger one, your 329 has again the 1103 motors, but the kV on them is down to 6,500, so you can run 3S, or I did run 3S on it and 2S. The VTX on these, on the Diatone, are really good. They're the TBS Unified 32 Pro. They give you a range over 300 meters. And the quality, you're paying $100 more, or this Lava X is $100, where these are $130 and $140 list. So you're paying an extra $30 or $40 more, but the quality of your parts are better. You're not going to crack your frame. It has a little bit of flexibility or canopy, but the frame, I did end up cracking. All the reviewers said, oh, you're not going to be able to break this frame because it's so lightweight. But I smacked it pretty good against some concrete, and I broke the frame there and there. I put some welders on it, and it seems to work good, but I do have an extra frame that I could put in there when I want to. Then my next quad here is the iFlight TurboBee 120 RS. I wanted to get something that would fly with 4S batteries. I have 2 or 3 of the 450 milliamp hour batteries, and I have a bunch of 3S, more 3S and 2S's, so I wanted a quad that would use those. This was on sale. I think I paid about $100 for it. I think it lists for, I don't know, $130, somewhere in that range. And it's a good quality. One of the downside, though, is the camera. It's a Runcam EOS camera, where I think the Nano 2s are a better camera. But overall, and the other thing that's good is it gets over 7 minutes of flight time on that 4S battery, my longest of any of the ones that you see here. My next quad there is the Eachine Twig. It's had also tied for the highest power to weight ratio at 6.2. It has the largest motors of any of these. It has motors are 1105 by 5200 kV. You would think this would be the quickest quad, but it wasn't. It was about a second slower than the Sailfly. I think that might have been due to the props. The props they give you are the gem fan props. They're noted for being efficient. Where I think if you went with the HQ props, I think they have a little bit more power that would probably speed them up and gain that second back. The other thing is the camera angle. It hits the canopy, and you can't get it above about a 35-degree angle unless you start to chip away the plastic. I did break the canopy in 2 spots. I've ordered another one. It just came in, so I'll be putting the spare canopy on. Where the Lava X, they give you 2 canopies from the start. And then my last one here is built from scratch. It's a cream puff frame. It has the Flame 1104 by 7,500 kV motors. It's a high kV, so it's made for 2S, but I think it will be able to run 3S, especially with the 2-bladed props. The stack is iFlight's Success, and I'm trying a Emax antenna on it for the video. It should be a good build. It's not quite ready to run. When I get the information, I'll put it in the spreadsheet that's going to be in the description below. Most thrust tests are done by measuring the thrust of one motor on a thrust testing machine with a constant voltage. I'm doing more of an actual test where I'm having a voltage drop of about 1.5 volts, so my numbers are a lot less than what you will see on the motor thrust test. This is the Diatone GTB 239 with 3S battery. See what it does. This is the lava. The Eachine Twig had the highest thrust value of 640 grams with a power to weight ratio of 6.2. The Diatone GTB 329 also had a power to weight ratio of 6.2, but a lower thrust value of 495 grams since it was lighter. Then the next one was the TurboBee 120. It had a thrust, maximum thrust of 574 grams running on 4S. Here I'm trying a new method, which isn't working out too good, of trying to lift up a heavy weight. There is concern among the reviewers of these toothpicks and twigs that the SPI receiver has a very limited range. I wanted to test for this, and to test for it, the first 4 that I'm doing here are the quads with SPI receivers. They are the Sailfly X, the TinyHawk FreeStyle, the Larva X, and Eachine Twig. I'm doing a range test going down the street here, and the mailbox that's coming up pretty soon will be at 155 meters, and all of these fail around 220 to 225 meters. The first 2, the Sailfly and the Freestyle, have only 25 milliwatt VTXs, and they fail with a video failure, where the other 2 are receiver failures. The Larva X made 220 meters, and the Twig made 225 meters. I am using a FR Sky X-Lite radio using D8 protocol on all these models. The next 3 quads use traditional XM pluses, which will give you a range over 500 meters, probably closer to 1,000 meters. So they're all VTX failures. The TurboBee had a range of 206 meters, and then both the Diatone GTB 329 and 229 made it out to 300 meters. The problem with the Diatone is the antenna is horizontal. On the 229, I bent it up a little bit. That's why it has it's clearer at the end. In summary, the 4 SPI models made approximately 220 to 230 meters before they failed, which is pretty good. It'd be nice if they'd make another 100 meters, and then there'd be no question if the SPI receivers are good. Lap speed testing was done on 2 different tracks. The first one is my shorter track, the playground track, which is about 500 meters or feet long. And for this, I would run 2 batteries for each quad, and I'd take the fastest 3 consecutive laps. The first group of 4 are the slower ones. Freestyle is the slowest at 12.5 or 12 seconds. Then the Primo, Larva X, and Twig were all at 11.3 seconds per lap. The next 4 quads are about a second quicker on average per lap, and they are: the fastest one is the Diatone 329 at 10 seconds. The next one is the Sailfly at 10.3 seconds per lap. Then the TurboBee is at 10.7 seconds per lap, and the slowest of the 4 was the Diatone 229 at 11 seconds per lap. I set the camera angle at 45 degrees for all the quads except for the Eachine Twig, which was limited by the canopy to 35%. I think this slowed it down. The other quad would be the Emax FreeStyle. We are now on the longer track, which is 840 feet long. The times on the longer track varied from the fastest at 15 seconds to 17 seconds. The first three are some of the slower ones, the Larva X at 16.7 and the Freestyle at the same speed, 16.7 seconds per lap, with the Diatone GTB 229 at 17 seconds per lap. I do not have times for the Primo Sailfly or Diatone GTB 329. The 329 broke a motor shaft after one lap. The one lap was 16 seconds. The TurboBee 120 was the fastest at 15 seconds, and the Twig was the second fastest at 16.3 seconds. To summarize the lap speed testing, the shorter course favored the smaller, lighter quads, the Diatone GTB 229 and Sailfly and Diatone GTB 329 were the fastest three, where on the longer course, the larger, heavier quads were the fastest. The TurboBee running 4S and then the Eachine Twig with the 1105 motors. I put all this information in a spreadsheet that shows all the information that we just went over, as well as I rated each quad on value, durability, the camera, and the fun factor, and then got an average rating for each of these quads. My basic recommendation would be to recommend to you the quads that I enjoyed flying the most, or flew the most. They are the two Diatones, the GTB 229 and 329, and then the Larva X. Those were from Happy Model. Those were the three quads that I would just pick up and go out and fly. If I had to pick one quad as my favorite toothpick / twig, it would probably be the GTB 329. It does cost about $30 or $40 more than the Larva X, but the quality of the components going in are better and are probably worth it in the long run. But I had just as much fun flying the Larva X, and it's under $100, so it's probably going to be your most popular that's in this class out there. If you have any questions or comments, please leave those in the comment section below. And if you like this, don't forget to hit the like button. And thanks for watching. Oh, and by the way, click on my TinyWhoop video that's popping up in the corner here. It's another great video to watch. Thank you.